Every single person who either graduates undergrad or goes out of business school to banking, they'll always feel the weight of the world is on them. The first mistake they make, someone might get mad at them. They'll feel, oh, there's $1 billion ki deal hai ye, abhi kya ho jayega? And he said, don't worry, you're not a doctor, nobody's going to die.
Let's talk about what you did not like about the first job that you took up, right? What was that one thing that you did not like? You thought that probably this is going to change your life, but it did.
Yeah, actually the first job I got was as a teaching assistant. And actually I thought that was actually a fun job. And I was a bit more relaxed than other TAs. I made things easier. And I think hopefully, at least that's the review I got, was that a lot of people learned better in that class because I created an environment which was easier for people to learn in. And I think so I actually really enjoyed my first job. It just didn't pay very much, but it was fun. And you also learn how little you know.
Yeah.
When you teach something, then you realize the limits of your own knowledge. In terms of the first full-time job, I interned in investment banking, then I worked full-time in banking. I think the one thing that I did not enjoy was there was a very inward-looking, mentality in that particular organization, which is, only America, only inside America, certain regions, certain quantities, and you were boxed in there, and you have to look a certain way, wear a certain style of clothing, speak in a certain way, and I felt it was not the American dream that you were told on TV.
Because you were going there to have different experiences. That's exactly what your point was.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get a sense that it was just based on, okay, this is the work I'm doing, that's enough, right? So there was a bit of stereotypes that were attached to you, so on and so forth. When I went full-time in New York, that changed a lot. New York, I felt, was a place with organizations I worked with there. There was a lot of merit-based culture. The harder you worked, the better output you gave. It really carried you far. People were much more open-minded about other cultures.
Yeah.
They were also I'm a very poor judge of character, so they were very open with the way they felt. So I didn't have to ever decode that what is this person feeling. The Midwest people are a little more polite, which a lot of people like, obviously. But for people like me, I just need to be told, right? If they feel good about it or they feel bad or they want me to, F off, that's fine. I'm happy to hear that feedback rather than try and decode it from 5 different places. So I like that about New York, and I realized that this is the kind of environment I want to be in. And that I've carried with me through the rest of my life. Like I think it's important to be upfront and be an organization which provides a merit-based culture. And that's why in Pocket Aces and at Loco, we always say that we operate as a sports team. And I learned a lot in my first full-time job. In fact, one of the business school veterans, Ashwath Damodaran from NYU, actually taught us all our coursework in the first job. And I remember a few things that he said, which have stayed with me throughout. One thing he said is, if you have the choice between being good and being lucky, always choose to be lucky, which I've seen throughout my life, right? And you have to create that luck a little bit in the sense that you can either manifest it or you can be in places where luck may hit you, right? So I think that's important, and having that ability or the desire to take those chances, right? I think that's important. And then he also said that at the end of the day, no matter how hard things get in investment banking, right? And every single person who either graduates undergrad or goes out of business school to banking, they'll always feel the weight of the world is on them. The first mistake they make, someone might get mad at them. They'll feel, oh, there's $1 billion ki deal hai ye, abhi kya ho jayega? And he said, don't worry, you're not a doctor, nobody's going to die. Right? So I think that's a good mentality to reduce pressure on yourself and say that, okay, I can fix it. Whatever happens, I can fix it. And you must have that mentality, I must fix it. And get the best product out there, but don't get debilitated by the fear of perfection in that sense. So, I learned a lot that year, and it was the biggest boom year. So,
what is the year we are talking about?
2006. So it was like, call it the jazz age of investment banking.
Before the storm was coming.
Yeah, I mean, you could start seeing this kind of the signs, early signs in 07, but 06 was like I didn't get a holiday for the first 6 months. I worked every day. Weekend ho, Christmas ho, kuch bhi ho, I was working. And I remember the first holiday I got after 6 months, everyone hugged me. So it felt like as if I'm going away for some 1 week. I was going away for 2 days. So, but I still have stayed friends with all those people. And it's like in 6 months I learned maybe what other people learn in 2, 3, 4 years. So I was lucky that I got that opportunity, that sort of start. And yeah, it stayed with me throughout.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but was it the Goldman stint that you were talking about, or the Goldman stint happened after this?
Goldman stint happened after. This was at Bank of America in
Right.
New
So
York.
after the first experience in the Bank of America in New York, where you're working for 6 months straight without any holidays, you moved to Goldman Sachs. Would you say that it was you being lucky, or that you moved there, or was it a conscious choice and you did that knowing very well that now I'm interested in finance and now I'm sure that this is something that I want to build my career?
The thing that happened is that, just like I said, as Mr. Damodaran said, it's important to be lucky and good. And there's another story which is in Charlie Wilson's War, where he says that the story of I don't know if you know the story of the boy and the horse, where they say basically the boy gets a horse, right? And people are like, "You're so lucky you got a horse." Then he falls from the horse, and people are, "Your foot's broken. You're so unlucky you got the horse." Then a war breaks out, but his foot is broken. So people are, "You're so lucky that this horse broke your foot." People recontextualize, and luck is important. But yeah, in my case also that happened, which is that I didn't get the US visa. I had to move from New York to London with Bank of America, and I was like, oh no, like, मतलब इतने सारे ख्वाब देखे थे मैंने कि मतलब मैं ही मतलब Wolf of Wall Street बन जाऊंगा. Right? Every person goes on those, you walk down Fifth Avenue or whatever, you start thinking of those things. And then I was like, oh, why am I now in London? Like, things are slower here, like it's not New York, right? Those things, and you're young, you're so small in your thinking or parochial in your thinking, because your mind is only on that one thing, that, oh, I want to be the best at this. And I think my stint then in London really taught me, I learned a lot. There were other cultures, you saw different kind of companies on a different sector. So that was actually a great stint. And funny enough, I've gone back to London many more times than I've gone back to New York after that. So I was there for a year. Then I got a bunch of offers in private equity. I moved to Dubai. And people were like, I moved in September 2008 from Bank of America. And then Bank of America bought Merrill Lynch. So people were like, you're so lucky. You knew there was a merger coming. Mergers will lead to job losses. And I was like, no, I just didn't get visa here. And I came to this other place. This other place showed me there's another world. I should take chances. I took that chance. I showed up in Middle East. They were like, oh, Middle East is amazing. There's so much money. Like, you chose it correctly. And then, of course, the Dubai dead standstill happened, right? Then people are like, no, you made a terrible choice. It's such a small market, only few things. Again, I made great friends, amazing experiences, made investments which, honestly, I was like 23, 24, maybe. From there, I went to Goldman. And then people are like, you're at Goldman, you're the best. And, in Goldman, Dubai, it's a great office, some of the best people I worked with. We had a lot of senior guys from Goldman New York coming in. So you really got experience with them, you got time with them, which you wouldn't get in New York, for example. Because New York, you're way down in the sort of pyramid. Yeah, you're way down, you're more functionally working hard, but you're not getting a top level view of what's happening in the world. Whereas now in this stint, I worked with a lot of the senior guys, I presented to them, they gave us their perspective. You also saw they were human. In fact, I remember one of the calls, one of the really senior people, they were at, that time they used to have these congressional hearings. I don't know if you remember, which is happening to all the tech guys now, where you sit in front of the senators and they all yell at them. And then the interesting thing is that you obviously get the camera's perspective. So this person was one of the most senior guys there, said, but you never get my perspective. So people keep telling you, why are you squinting? And he's like, you have like 25 cameras in front of me. And then I have to remember this number from some balance sheet. It's like, it's impossible. And a lot of the times the guys on the other end have done no work. They're just coming with obviously with a certain set agenda to prove a point. So it was amazing to see. That also humanizes these people, right? If I look back, should I say that it was luck? Yeah, 100% it was luck. Of course, I worked through each and every day of that, but yeah, I'm lucky. There's a lot of people who don't get that opportunity. And now when I tell the story to people, they're like, wow, you made such great choices. You went here and there. And I said, no, every time I was making a choice, I felt I'm making, I have no option, right? And sometimes I felt I'm making a bad choice. I'm like, oh, look, my friends have so many better choices, right? But over time, I stopped thinking that way because I realized that, oh, matlab, आप अकेले ही पैदा होगे अकेले ही मरोगे, right? So ultimately you are the hero of your own journey, so just enjoy your own journey. That's why I don't usually compare with other people. Even as a child I didn't have that problem. Like that competitive streak in me is more for myself, but and what I could do, right? So this journey then really helped me with that as well, right? Just like, everybody is not the same. They may have advantages, disadvantages that you don't know of. And usually it's not one, like human brain wants to say, one thing made this guy a star or one thing made this guy successful. It's not usually that, it's a bunch of different things coming together.